Yes.
What is your background or any knowledge base on doing birth control pills up until the 21st week of pregnancy, like the repercussions of anything like that?
First of all, I have a hard time understanding why a person would do that.
Well, the birth control pills, they didn't know they were pregnant because they, of course, were getting like
21 weeks?
21 weeks, yeah.
That's a long. Yeah,
That's
it's pretty.
halfway through pregnancy.
Yeah, more than halfway through your pregnancy.
Part of that TV show?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there definitely are people who the first sign of being pregnant is giving birth. So it has happened before. Lots of times this is when a person's really not connected to their body. I can't give a good answer to that situation. If I would think it would be silly, I would think that the child/fetus is going to be over-flooded with female hormones, and that might be, in this case, they're virtually xenoestrogens and xenohormones. So there could be some problematic things in that area. I don't know how well the placenta filters that out. So I really can't give a solid answer on that one at all. Would there be a higher probability of that child having candida? I would think so, but I really don't know. And I would say for me to do a lot of research in this area would be absurd, because I don't think I'm going to run into that many women that are going to do birth control at the time.
And the birth control companies, they like to keep a lot of that information really.
Well, of course they would.
Yeah, I know.
So I have had lots of women do birth control pills 4 to 8 weeks into
Right.
pregnancy,
Right.
because for various reasons
Yeah.
they believed they couldn't be pregnant,
Right.
and there doesn't seem to be really big effects
Right.
of that.
Okay, would there be, in your opinion, any concern for heart problems? In my own research that I've done, not on the internet because they don't have anything on there, but from people that I know that have had children with heart problems, it has been due to.
I have no evidence in that area that they would have heart problems or not. I can't see any reason why they would, but I'm not saying they wouldn't.
Right, okay. Okay. Also, if there's a child under the age of 10 that has parasites and is really particular and only eats, 4 foods, period, what would be the easiest way to go about doing a parasite cleanse?
Well, it depends on how easy they can swallow pills.
They won't.
Okay, then if they can't swallow pills, there's a homeopathic from a company called Unda that's really very good.
Okay.
It's called Unda 39. And so usually the under 10 group, we give that. It works about half as fast and half as efficient as Paratec. And the Paratec is actually cheaper. So as soon as the kid can take the Paratec, we would prefer that to the Unda 39. But put it in perspective, I certainly have a lot of adults that for whatever reason can't swallow capsules or stuff like that to give the Unda 39 and had very good success. There's several other homeopathic ones that will work. The tinctures we also have used with kids, but typically they taste so bad.
Yeah, that's not going to
But I've had several kids that really like Sweet Annie as a tincture, or Artemisia annua, so it has a sweeter taste, and so we had a large group of kids over a period of time that have done that. But typically the Unda 39, which is also alcohol based, so they have that kind of spicy, they feel it's too spicy, so you have to put it in juice or whatever the case may be. It's been very successful. But instead of it taking 15 days, usually get rid of the parasites, it takes 30 to 45 days. And then again, we try to follow it up with some kind of acidophilus. May that be a yogurt drink or a BioK or something like that. So fairly successful with that.
Okay, now, so that's the one thing, getting that into the child in the first place. But the other thing is, the sugar, taking away the sugars and the flours and stuff like that. I mean, that's not going to be really that possible. So is it going to be as...
Well, I disagree that it's not that possible.
Well, that's what, and I've suggested, numerous outlets for, substitutions.
Meaning that
but-
throughout the history of our species, we've been able to do that. And, kids are actually fairly pliable. I mean, let's... No, it really comes down to there's an adult and there's a kid. And yes, it could be a little bit of a battle, but this battle is a much bigger battle than just sugar.
Right.
It's like, you're a kid, I'm a parent, you do what I say, okay? Now, certainly some kids are going to be way more militant, and there can be problematic things in that. It kind of reminds me of this commercial I saw once, where there was this appeared to be a single father going in the Safeways, and his child grabbed some cookies and put it in the cart. And he said, no, we put it back. Then the child grabbed it again, and he put it back. And then the kid jumped out of the cart and started throwing things of cookies all over the place and breaking displays and Safeways and stuff like that. And then the caption was, there's more than one reason to use Trojan condoms than you might think. Which is a very effective ad. It actually got to the crux of the matter instead of sexually transmitted diseases. It was looking at it from a different point of view. But so there are kids, what I'm trying to say, that you have a hard time getting around. But that's a social issue. But you still can get rid of the parasites without changing the diet.
Okay, that's good.
One of the things that we would suggest, though, is to add things like pumpkin seeds into the diet, depending on how aged.
She's a funny one.
So you work with whatever you can and then go forward from there. Yes?
Would you be worried about adding a laxative into that sort of situation?
It really depends on the situation. Sometimes we
Well, like,
would.
where you have a kid who only eats 3 or 4 things, and 3 of which are sugar and flour, like their intestines can't be very...
But some are and some aren't. So you have to look at each individual thing, each individual person. So in this case, the laxative of choice would usually be fig syrup.
Okay.
It's very easy to give the kids fig syrup, usually. There's a company called Salicen that has a great Mission fig syrup. It's really pretty easy to make yourself. You just take figs, the dark figs seem to be a little bit better, and literally soak them overnight in twice the water, and then put twice the water again, and then parboil it for about an hour or so, and then put it through a colander for making jelly or cheesecloth or something like that, and you get this thick syrup. It's very easy to make, and it's extremely good for most younger kids. Laxative. Of course, prune juice will work too, but kids are more likely to eat the fig syrup than they will, and especially it's all in the message. If it's a treat that's being able to put over there whatever, lots of times, and it's tasty. It's quite tasty, and so that's worked very good. I'm talking about a half to a full teaspoon, and in this case, it's kind of hard to limit the amount you get. Meaning the kids, no, you don't understand, I want 5 tablespoons. But it's a thing that can be
But
compliant.
it's mild enough that it won't cause griping or any sort of...
Oh no,
stress.
so the fig syrup, I've never seen it cause griping.
Yeah, so...
But there's sometimes open up the mouth. But to put it in perspective, I was on a sugar-free and a salt-free diet for about 8 years when I was a kid. And I was told to do it, so that's what I did. And I basically didn't have a lot of choice in the matter. It was and my brothers and sisters weren't on that diet. I had a health issue that I was on that diet, and I just, and my mother treated it as, oh, you have the special food. Because of.
Yeah, no, I understand that it's absolutely in the parent, it comes down to the parents. There's a few more things going on in this particular, there's some, schizophrenia and things like that.
And there can be an fetal alcohol syndrome that sometimes really affects that whole area. Any other questions around this or other areas? Okie doke, so let's see if the electronics are behaving.